welcome to my channel, Every Day I'm Mothering. Today I'm going to be talking more about one of the tips from my Getting Started Homeschool video. And if you haven't seen that yet, you can find the link in the description box below. So I talked about the importance of having a planner. So I want to actually show you what my planner looks like and show you some of the changes that I've made throughout these 3 years. So you'll get an idea of something that might work for you. Now I get my planners from Plum paper. So I'm actually going to show you how you can order that and walk you through the steps. So I'm actually sitting upstairs for this video, and I'm going to show you on the computer exactly how to do that. There are so many planners out there. There are so many options that, once again, with homeschooling, it can be really overwhelming. But hopefully you'll see something that works for you, especially if you're going to be using the same curriculum as us, which is Torchlight, Logic of English, and RIGHTSTART Math. And I have detailed reviews on all of those. Again, just click that description box down below. Or if you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe to my channel and you can just check out that entire homeschool playlist. There's so much helpful information there. Okay, so let's start looking at planners. So I absolutely love a planner. Something about being able to write everything down and finding ones that are just in these bright colors. I like adding the stickers in. It just makes me happy. I feel like I'm organized. And to me, there's just no comparison in actually having a paper and pencil type planner versus something on my phone or the computer. I just like being able to pick up my planner. I can easily flip through, see what I'm doing for the month, for the week, for the day, and I just like holding it and having it. When I'm picking my planner, one of the things I love about Plum paper are there's so many options for the colors. So I always try to pick one that just makes me happy. Like bright, it's colorful, and again, it just makes me happy when I pick it up and when I see it. Another good thing about having a planner like this when you're homeschooling is that it helps you from a record keeping perspective. So I have planners from all 3 years that I've been homeschooling. So if I ever needed to show anything, that's going to depend on the state that you live in, or if you're under an umbrella school like we are, whatever your requirements might be. It's really helpful to have this documentation. So I can go through, I can see exactly what days we were homeschooling, so I can easily take attendance. I can see the curriculum that we were doing, activities we were doing, tutorials, extracurriculars. And I just like from like a safety legality standpoint of having all this that I can easily reference and feel confident about that this shows what we did for that year of homeschool. So like I said, there's a lot of options out there for planners. I looked at a couple when I was getting started, but one of the things that really stood out to me for Plum paper was how customizable it was. I think that's really important since obviously one of the perks of homeschooling is flexibility in picking curriculum and your schedule and all of that. So it was important that I could reflect exactly what I wanted in my planner. But on the flip side of that, starting from scratch and trying to put something together, there was just something that just blocked mentally for me, and I just felt really overwhelmed. And even though I love planners, I was about to be like, no, I can't do it. Let's shut down. It's too many decisions to be made right now. So when I found that Plum paper actually has a homeschool category, that made it a lot easier to start with. They have a couple different homeschool layouts where you can easily kind of start there, actually tweak your names for your columns, what you want included, you want your school year to start as far as the months in the calendar. So if you do use Plum paper, try to wait until they have a sale to purchase. They have them a couple times a year, but I know they typically have one in late spring, and that's when I will usually order mine. Just keep an eye on their Facebook page and you can usually find something. I actually want to show you what my planners have looked like for the past 3 years. I did make some changes based on what was actually working for me. Sometimes you think something sounds good, but then a couple months in, you realize I'm not even actually using this feature. I tweaked some in the next years. And then this year, I really had to make some changes because I was going from only teaching my oldest daughter to teaching her and my middle daughter. They're going to be in 2nd grade and kindergarten this year. And I really still just wanted one planner for both of them. So I did have to make some changes. It's not going to be quite as detailed, but I'm really happy with how it turned out. So the first planner I'm showing you is from the 2018-2019 school year when Elena was going into kindergarten. Now, several of these features are the same on all of the planners because they're part of that homeschool layout. When you open it, you'll see that you have your calendar for the year. You also have a section to add any special dates. And you have your section for ideas, plans, and goals. I haven't really utilized that much, but it's a good option. Then you move into your monthly tabs. And this is where you can customize depending on when you're gonna be starting your homeschool year. I will typically start my tabs in August. Even though traditionally in the past, we haven't started our actual homeschool curriculum until September. Usually in August is when we'll start with our tutorials and our extra classes. But since this year we're not going to be able to do any of those, sadly, I am going to go ahead and start homeschool in August. The girls are actually begging me to start and they're going stir crazy. So we are going to be starting in August. But you can start in June, July, whenever you want, and just pick the month that works for you. So then after that, you have your calendar for the month. And this is where I like to specifically note any extracurriculars, tutorials, any play dates. If we have field trips, like in the past when we've been going to plays or other events with our homeschool groups. This is where I like to get an overall view of the month. It helps me keep a track of everything and any special things that we're adding in for the month. So then you get into your actual week, and this is where you're gonna start to see a lot of the customizations. So my first year, I picked the layout where you had boxes at the top for special events and for supplies needed. So I would list any field trips here and then any supplies I was gonna need for activities during that week. And I chose to have the days of the week across the top, and then I would have my subjects going down the side. When the book is closed, I could easily still just look all the way down Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You can customize again the titles for these tabs. I chose to go with reading, art, music, culture, science, personal development, English, and math, since those tied in the most with our kindergarten Torchlight curriculum, and then of course, logic of English and math. Then I would include everything that we were supposed to be reading for each of those days in each of those sections. Then this particular layout also included Saturday and Sunday, and it had a weekly checklist, and that's where I would put down any things that I wanted to make sure I got done each week, but weren't necessarily part of a specific day in the curriculum. And then I had this box at the bottom where initially I started out, I was gonna do an additional curriculum that was more of a nature-based, but I wasn't able to find a lot of books for that. It fizzled out quickly and ended up using it at all. So after a couple months, I ended up changing this to just show what we were studying that week under Torchlight, like what country and what animal. That way I could easily check out other books from the library by looking at that theme. That's just another example of how things change once you actually start using it. I'll actually show you that that's not the only thing in this particular layout that I stopped using. So you can see in the later months, I stopped filling in special events since I had that on my calendar page anyway. Supplies needed, nope. Weekly checklist, nope. And then you can see just the theme here. And Saturday and Sunday, I stopped using. So based off of what I found that I was actually utilizing, the following year, I made some changes. So here you can see this is the 2019-2020 school year when we were doing level 1 Torchlight and still RIGHTSTART Math and Logic of English. You can see the cover is completely customizable. You can change what you want to show, how you want that to be laid out. So I did switch it up a little bit with this one and put our name in the middle. Here you can see again, looking at that month overview. And I did actually start using more of the stickers this year. I started including some of them in the actual planner. And then I think when I ordered, it was a special where I got some extra things. And I found that I really liked using these stickers. I don't know why, but more fun, and I've seen them when I open the book. So you can see I've included some of those. And then when we get into the week, this is where you're gonna notice the big change. So I decided instead of having all the weekend stuff and those boxes and lists at the top, that I wanted just to streamline, get rid of those, so I actually had more room to write under each day and each subject. This time I have my days of the week going down the side, and under each of those there are some bullet points to put anything special that we're doing on those days. So consistently you can see that I would include things like piano or French lessons, or if there was something extra I wanted to add like Grammar Galaxy or some special videos that I wanted us to watch, I would note those things there. Then I would get into our actual subjects. And again, I pulled these out of what was listed in the Torchlight curriculum as the main subject points. So we have our literature, art or music, history, science, mythology, and then of course, math and English again. Again, I just wrote exactly what we're supposed to be reading, the pages, and then here I would actually note any materials that were needed for that specific day right in the box since I had more room. And that helped me just looking at the week to be able to know what I needed and to make sure that I had it. Now we're looking at this year's planner, and you can see the cover looks a little familiar because I just love this design, so I went back and used it again. So I haven't actually filled out my planner yet for this year, and that's because I'm still waiting to get my printed off PDF from Torchlight. And I'm still kind of thinking through what exactly I want our schedule to look like this year, since it is changing up with us not having these extra activities. Still trying to work out, exactly what I want that to look like and what's going to work best for us. And I'll do another video when I start to actually lay out that schedule so you can see what that thought process looks like and how I fill these out. Like I said, for this year, I did need to have both of my daughter's curriculums reflected in the planner. They are going to be doing different levels of math, English, and Torchlight. So I thought that this would be a good way to capture all that. So I've still kept our days of the week going down the side with any of the bullet points, so any specific add-ons for those days. Then I broke it apart, so Adeline, my middle daughter, is on the left, and Elena, my oldest, is on the right. I still have a column for each of them for literature, which is going to be Torchlight, logic of English, and then math. So this time for Torchlight, I'm going to include all the reading in the same column. I'm not breaking it up by subject. It really doesn't matter to us what the subject is. I'm really just trying to get down the books and the reading. With Torchlight, even though I include it in my planner, when it actually comes time to read it, I get out Torchlight parent guide because it has more of the details and the questions. This planner is more so to keep me on track so I can see what week I'm in and to make sure that I'm hitting our logic of English and our RIGHTSTART math lessons and that I'm on track with those throughout the week. If I don't have especially those written down here, it's easy to get off in your head if you miss a day, you haven't made one up, and you'll find yourself at the end of the year suddenly panicking because you have missed a ton of lessons and you're not where you thought you would be. So that's where this really helps. Just keep me on track, make sure I'm hitting those goals of when I need to, and I can build in my break weeks here as well. So I like to know when I think we're gonna have a break, and we try to do that every few weeks. And doing that break, we'll still do some school-related activities, but building in that buffer also just gives us some breathing room where we can catch up if we have gotten behind because life, happens. In the last column, I have activities, and that's where I'm gonna note any of the hands-on science activities, history, or art projects where I'm gonna need materials. That's where I'll list those out separately so I can quickly look and identify those. See in the back of all my planners, those are that basic homeschool layout. They have a homeschool and a checklist tab. I haven't really utilized these that much. If my kids were older, then perhaps I would, but since I don't really do a lot with grading and reading logs and all of that, I haven't really had to use this. But I can definitely see if you had multiple kids, and especially if they're older, why this would come in handy. Your goals page, what you want to do throughout the year. Then you have your year at a glance. If you really want to do a high level planning out, that's where you could do that. You want to list out all of your classroom resources. On the next page, again, you can see supplies. You can actually put down your cost. Really helpful if you want to track that for budget purposes, and it's enough to be in one of those states where you get reimbursed or so much money for homeschool things. I don't know exactly how that works, but this is where you could track all of that. I don't really want to track how much I spend on homeschool. It's not really cheap. But I will say with multiple kids, the programs I've picked, I am spending less every year because I'm able to use most of the curriculums again. But anyway, this is where you can do that if you so choose. Have your attendance record, and this is nice just to go through and circle the days if you need to give a tally at the end of the year. Reading log, extracurricular activities, a grading log, next year's goals. There's a lot of resources there that could be helpful for you. The last tab is just blank checklist pages. Use that for whatever you'd like. You've got some of the included stickers that you can use. Then there's this nice folder page in the back where you can hold any of your extra paper. I did just want to try to show what the cover and the back is like on this. It's a pretty thick, heavy plastic. I mean, it still bends. It's really nice in helping it feel protected and sturdy. So now we're actually going to walk through ordering one of these off the Plum paper site. This is Plum paper. When you get here, you'll want to click on planners at the top. And then when you go over here, you'll see underneath this teacher's planner that there is a homeschool category. Once you click on that, you'll want to select your size. I like to get the biggest one, so I'll get the 8.5 by 11. And you can explore the layouts. And here's where they have the 3 different types of layouts. And I've used a couple of these like I showed you throughout the year. And you can look at each one of them and you can preview exactly what they look like. And for the most part, it's just this weekly one that's gonna look different. So here you can see layout 1, where it has these extra boxes on the side and the days across the top. In layout 2, you can see the boxes down here. There's a Saturday and Sunday, and then the days are now going down the side in a column. And then layout 3, which is the one that I chose for this year. So there's no extra boxes. It gives you the most room for writing in each day and then for each of your subjects. Here you can look through the rest of those tabs like I showed you, and those are pretty much the same throughout all of the homeschool layouts. So once you've made your decision, you can order now, and then this is where you get to pick your print. And you can see there are so many different kinds. You're gonna find something that you like. So here are what are under the favorites. Here you can see the one I've gotten a couple times. I just like the bright colors. Then there's some that are more teacher specific. Some they call just fun. You can see there's like food, and again, just some different prints. If floral's more your thing, there's more of those. And then some classic just prints and styles. So then you start to personalize it. Here's where you can include anything you want on the cover. You can add your text, you can even add a photo, or you can just have it blank. On the bottom, here's where you can add in any names, dates. You can technically add the date here as well, and it'll show at the top. You can even do the range, but I typically like to just include it on the bottom here. And this is where I will usually write like our name, or I know some people actually name their family's homeschool, so that could be cute too if that's something that you do. Include there. Then here's where you can change, how you want it to look, how you want it aligned. You can choose the fonts. So you can see you can truly customize pretty much everything on here. Different colors that you want here. Okay. And this is where you're going to go to actually add in your specific homeschool items to your layout. So this section is for at the top if you want to label anything. I usually just leave it blank. This is where you'll start actually labeling your columns. So I'll just do the example of basically what I ordered for this year. So I have Adeline's Torchlight, Adeline's Math, and then Adeline's English. Then I'm going to change over to Elena here for Torchlight, Elena's Math, and Elena's English. Then you saw that I like to include just an activity column. Then here's where you'll want to double check everything's spelled correctly, everything looks the way that you want it. You'll choose binding. I like to get the coil binding. This is where you get to pick the month that you want your school year to start. And like I told you, I will typically always pick August, and I will get it for 12 months. Then you can add on things here if you want to include like meal planning, budgets, any type of family calendar. I don't typically use those, so I don't really include them here. As you can see, there are all different kinds down here. There's more homeschool type stickers and homeschool options if you want to include them. There are a lot more stickers that you can get. So here's where you just get to have fun, whatever will make you happy or will make it more useful for you. And then when you're finished, you'll get a final look at it. You'll get your ship date, and then you can go ahead and order. And that's it. So it's really easy to do. Play around with it, try a few different things out until you find the layout that's gonna work best for you. So that's a look at my planner and what I've used in the past. Let me know below if you use a different one that you think I should check out, or if you have any questions at all about the planner or homeschool, note those below, subscribe to my channel, and check the rest of the homeschool playlist. Bye everyone.